from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk.
Let the ranting begin on this bonus episode. I'll soon be joined by Margo Donohue from two podcasts, Best Neighbors and What a Creep. She's calling in from Brooklyn, New York, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I made this one a bonus mainly because I had some technical problems on my end. You'll hear my audio be a little distorted, which drives me nuts. Really unhappy about that. But my thanks to Margo for being patient and you guys for listening. We talk a little bit about Real Housewives of New Jersey on this show, the pay cuts coming to Real Housewives, and also Lindsay Lohan. She's apparently with a new boyfriend. We just about touch on that, but there's a story that Margo has about Lindsay and Dina that you'll want to hear. And Gayle King is facing death threats. That's a lot to handle. And we've got some other stuff in between, so I hope you'll hang out with us and enjoy this bonus episode of Grant's Rants. Real Housewives of New Jersey, I want to talk to you about it. Are you enjoying the current season as much as I am?
I'm so enjoying it. I even when they have a filler episode, which we just had, it was kind of, it was a filler episode for sure. It was still fun. It still makes me laugh. It still makes me feel things. I mean, I got very panicked when Teresa forgot to bring her driver's license and the kids stuff. I mean, come on, woman, get it together.
Oh, please. Yeah, she's ridiculous. Yes, we sat and watched Joe Gorga fix a leak on a sink. There wasn't that much going on. But look, I have said this before. I'm okay with a little bit of showing life as it is. Not everything has to be a scene out of Atlanta Housewives where every scene someone is yelling in someone's face or threatening someone or having to be physically removed. Oh, I don't need that. That's what turned me off from a show like Mob Wives. I loved Mob Wives, but it was the fight of the week. I couldn't take it anymore.
Right. Yeah, remember Drita? Is that her name?
Yes.
She was I think she just was in jail.
She was. Yes.
Shock. But I feel the same way. That's why with Atlanta, I only kind of dip into it occasionally. I don't want to hear all the yelling. I don't need a fight every week.
It's tiring for me. I can catch it every once in a while and it's good enough. That's good enough. I feel I can catch up quick and get my fix and that's enough. Meanwhile, turning our attention back to Instagram, well, first of all, from the show itself this week, Joe Gorga suggested that Teresa's soon-to-be ex never really treated her correctly, calling him rough and not knowing how to open up and be a man. So Joe felt, he had to go on Instagram and respond to this. He posted, I don't even know if this is a quote. It looked like a screen grab, a quote about the signs of being a real man. I mean, again, does nobody have a publicist? I can't stand that I have to take news from Instagram stories, And
it was so dumb. Did you read his post?
I did.
He's such a dum-dum. I mean, he treated her terribly. They caught it on camera over and over and over again. Oh, and by the way, he's a liar and a fraud. That's why he went to jail. I mean, he's not a good person. I mean, he wrecked his family's life. Where's your act of contrition there? Where are you thinking about what you've done to the family? And that I think he still blames her for his downfall. And it's just absurd. I mean,
he's definitely bitter because they were, their life was televised on this show and that, they feel as though that they were taken advantage of extra hard because they were on the television, which very well could be. But I mean, how many people have we watched on TV and they don't have these criminal pasts, not hiding stuff?
No, he was paying these workers with cash. Do you remember that? The first season, he would just flip with his thumb, and pay thousands of dollars to the crew. The IRS is going to look at that, you dummy. I mean, they were so overt about it. I think he thought he was being clever, and he was not.
Never bright. The two of them always off.
No.
She now was on What Happens Live. These TMZ pictures came out, and she said that she's happy for him. I guess. The pictures, though, he's saying are fake, and they're not fake, but that they're old because he's not in the same shape that he's in. I don't know, because I thought the same thing in a way. I was like, wait a minute. It's like, I thought he was like, these look like old pictures. But regardless, what difference does it make? If he's seen with young women, he's still been married. So what difference does it make now or then?
I agree with you. No. But, I mean, he's just splitting hairs there. He's saying, no, I'm in Italy and I'm slim right now. This is not me. But it's a pattern of behavior that he had.
Well, it's very simple. Was the man in Mexico in the last 30 days or not? Because if he was, then like those are the pictures. I mean, unless if someone's just been sitting on these like Joe Giudice like revenge pictures, I just can't imagine anybody at TMZ would waste their time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but there's a new report that basically after Vicky and Tamra were kicked off the franchise, now there's a new salary format. I've never heard of that term, a salary format. But there's going to be a new way that their contracts are going to be drawn up. Did you read about this?
Yeah. So what they're going to be paid, basically, they're paid for what winds up, I don't know, they're for camera time. So does that mean like when they show up, the day they get paid, or what goes on camera on live on the TV, what makes it for the final edit? I don't understand the distinction there, but because right now they just get a flat salary, right? They just get a season's pay, but they're going to change it to be that. So if you're like a Dolores who's nice and great, but you don't really move the plot along very much, you might get a lot less.
Right. I mean, I don't know. This is a tough thing because I thought, so in the early part of this season of Atlanta, Nene was off like the first 2 episodes, 3 episodes. I can't remember the exact number. And I was told that was kind of a punishment for to try to make like amends for last season when she attacked the crew. So they had her basically, lose out on a little bit of money because I thought they were getting paid episode by episode anyway. I know that's what it's like with Vanderpump Rules. But again, maybe, maybe we're both right in this aspect because looking at Tamara and Vicky, both on the show from 10 plus years ago, the agreements and the talent agreements had to be completely different. Like that was a lifetime ago, and especially in reality TV and entertainment. So now maybe it's more like a universal, like you're getting paid per episode that you appear in that we determine in post. So you could be in a scene or you could, you could tape for this episode and then we're not going to use that lunch that we taped and you're still not getting paid. I mean, that's just kind of like how it goes. I think that probably makes the most sense financially from a business perspective.
Yeah, it's called show business, so they are there to make money. I just think, I wonder then, because you and I think both that's the same thing. I don't want fakeness in my reality shows. I don't mind them if they're sitting around eating pasta and making fun of each other. Like that's totally fine. I'll watch that. But I think that they might get nervous, like, oh, it's not going to be exciting enough. So then people create our arguments just to create an argument, just to get some airtime, just to get paid, which then it becomes like wrestling to me or something, which I don't want to see.
Exactly. That's what I have here in my outline when I was thinking about this. I really gave it some thought. And I said, business-wise, it makes sense, but it forces more self-producing and fake drama because now people are going to be like, well, I need to be on every episode. I need to be in the middle. So like, what can I say? What can I make up? What can I do? And, that is the complete opposite of how this show started.
Oh, see, so I don't watch Bachelor because I'm just not a Bachelor person. I just find it very fake. The girls talking to the camera. Yeah, we're having a date tonight, and I hope I impress. Like it feels like it's the same thing over and over again. Like I said, I like my Housewives because they're doing something different, even when it's basic. It's still it just feels more natural. Like you said, I like to see them in the wild. I like to see them in their where they feel comfortable, and where they feel uncomfortable. I just want to see them react to things. And I feel like with stuff like Bachelor, it's people know how to get on camera. So some girl's going to act really trashy. Some girl's going to act really bitchy. Some girl's going to act like she's in love and cry all the time. It's those tropes that I'm kind of tired of.
I agree. This article did say that no one is safe. There are no more big contracts, and this, of course, is going to make people nervous. But like you said, this is show business. This is all business. There are so many lawyers involved in these decisions and contracts. What people don't see is the real show. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I think, I mean, it is what it is. The talent can't really be that surprised, is what I'm saying.
Right. I think, but I do wonder this. I wondered this. How does Vicky deal with this rejection? Do you know what I mean? When a few months down the line, when they have the new season, how does Vicky handle knowing that she's not Vicky anymore from the OC? Right. Like she'll always be an OG, but I wonder what that does to her self-esteem.
I don't know what to say about Vicky other than I think they made a huge mistake still. I mean, I know people love to hate her or hate her in general, but I'm a Vicky fan. I think they made a big mistake. She had a huge reaction to BravoCon from the people there that are your hardcore Bravo people. If they're paying like $800 to sit in a room.
I get it. I mean, here's the thing. She made a fool of herself in that reunion, and she was over the top. She was everything, but it was watchable. Like once she left, it was boring. It's like,
Exactly.
I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. It got boring. But maybe there's like another show they can create with some of these older housewives. And it's something a little different, but it's still like a flavor of them.
I think that's a smart idea because they still
Yeah.
have an audience. People
Yeah.
are still interested in seeing them. That's something that they have to develop. You need to get people
Yeah.
that are invested in that idea. I'm wondering if maybe it really is an age thing. And obviously they're not going to say it. And it was like all over Instagram and all these places. Andy Cohen says it has nothing to do with age. Well, of course he's going to
Right.
say that. Was he going to say it
Right.
does? And then they're going to get sued. So, I mean, I wonder if they just want to like keep it the median age young, as I've been saying for a long time, which is a huge mistake.
I think so too, because I don't want to see young moms and young babies. I'm sorry, I don't. I want to see women in their 40s and 50s living out loud. This is the new age of the Golden Girls, right? That's what we want to see. We want them living out loud and having fun. And I don't want to see somebody that's 27 with little kids at home. That's not fun for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel.
I want to transition to Lindsay Lohan. Again, pulling from Instagram. I hate this. There's an Instagram post of her sister, and this boyfriend, Bader Shamas. I don't even know how to say
Yes.
his name. And we don't even know if it's really him. There was an article on yourtango.com or youtango.com, and it was like everything you need to know about Lindsay Lohan's boyfriend. And it was like 3 paragraphs, and basically what it said is there's no information on him. He has a private Instagram account. So again, this is not even news.
So do you want to hear my Lindsay Lohan story?
Please. Yeah, at least we can get something out of this because there's no facts there.
No. So so this was, when did the movie The Parent Trap come out? Was that 97 or 98?
Yeah. Way back when.
I was taking an author around New York. His name is Larry Gatlin. He was in a band called the Gatlin Brothers. And we did the talk show circuit. So we went from Good Morning America to Live with Regis and Kathy Lee at the time, and then a couple of other shows. And we just happened to piggyback with Lindsay Lohan and her mother. And Lindsay was doing interviews for Parent Trap. So by the middle of the day, we were all hanging out with each other. We were super friendly. So Dina and I hung out. Dina is, I remember at the time, beautiful, like super gorgeous, very nice, very friendly. Lindsay was a doll. She was so sweet. And it was very funny because Dina had said to me that the producers for the Inspector Gadget movie really wanted Lindsay in the movie. And I think it starred Matthew Broderick. And they said no because they were going to film it in California. And she's like, no, we're based in New York and we're keeping the family together. And so we have to say no to things sometimes. And I thought, oh my God, this kid's going to be fine because her mother's looking out for her. She's thinking, I would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that she would have been the next Jodie Foster, that she was going to be totally fine. And within 10 years, it went all fracata.
Yeah, I mean, Medina is like my number one. Like I love Dina.
I know.
So I was listening intently.
I tell people all the time, she was so lovely, like super nice, super cool, and constantly. Like she said to me, "Yeah, we don't want to have her out, away from us for months at a time. We want to keep the kids together. We want to treat it like it's normal. We don't want to make a big deal." I know.
Yeah, that
all
was
those
way
things.
early on. She must have gotten a taste herself, and
Yeah,
then
at
just
some point.
went all in. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have actually a picture of me and Lindsay Lohan, so I'll post it on my Instagram feed so you guys can see it for yourselves. But
That's great.
yeah.
Well,
Whenever I
so
tell that
close
story,
to
'cause I think-
Dina.
we were pals. We were totally. The only thing that was kind of weird at the very end, she goes, "Do you know anybody with scripts? Because we're always looking for scripts." And I know she meant film scripts. She didn't mean the other kind of script. But I was like, no. But she was kind of working that angle. But I'm telling you, my impression of her, she was beautiful. She was sweet, very, very loving. She and Lindsay had a great relationship, and Lindsay was just a sweet kid. I mean, it's just show business is a really terrible business sometimes.
Yeah, they got completely sucked in. I want to talk about Gayle King. She's facing death threats after a video was released. A portion of the interview was out there. She was talking with Lisa Leslie about Kobe, questioning Lisa's position around the sexual assault allegations of Kobe's past. Now,
Right.
Of course, we see this all the time. If you're a frequent user of YouTube, there are always portions of interviews that are out there that promote it to get you to watch whatever. And this one just happened to be about this. And I knew, because I knew this was going to be a hot button issue, when it was first announced that Kobe passed, I watched the announcement on CNN. And a reporter was kind of talking briefly about his daughter and his life, and she did mention, a mere mention, you know, he went through, you know, some allegations in the early 2000s, and all the comments were coming for this woman for how dare she mention this in her report. So when I knew there was a Gayle King thing out there, I know how people view her and Oprah, because Oprah went after Michael Jackson, so she's still not forgiven for that. So I knew this was going to get ugly.
And it certainly did. And I felt the same way you did. And once again, let's talk about Instagram. So Gayle King was told, don't respond to it. We're just going to act like nothing's happening. We're just going to, and she said,
typical
no,
network,
that's
typical network stuff. Yep.
Yeah, like nobody wants to do the work. You know, that's also part of the PR. Like some people just don't want to do the work, right? So they just pretend that, oh, the best thing to do is not to do anything. Because I have a PR background, trust me. There's sometimes they're just like, I don't know how to handle this shitstorm, so let's just pretend it's not there. And it put her in a bad position. And
Terrible,
you know, she had to she gave a video, on Instagram explaining her point of view, and that it was a mere mention in her interview with this person. She was talking about his entire life. She was very complimentary about him. She was upset that the network chose that one clip because it made it seem like that's all she talked about.
Right.
And this poor woman getting death threats. I mean, like what is going on in this world?
Right, and this is what gets me, because according to her, she mentioned it to put a button on the issue. So in her argument is that she did it with like the best of intentions. It wasn't meant to be salacious.
Right.
It was meant to like, okay, we're going to discuss this now with his peers in the industry, and then we'll put it to bed. But yeah, I mean, but that, you know, stuff like that with the digital world we live in, with promotional clips and YouTube and snippets and things out of context. I mean, it's amazing it doesn't happen more than it already does, because there's so much content. Everyone's just trying to get it out the door and trying to get as much buzz as they can. It did make everybody look bad. And I don't know if CBS has said anything. I think there was a statement from the morning show, but I don't think there was anything coming from CBS.
No. And I think like, I honestly, if you're asking me, I feel like they hung her out to dry with it. I think they should have had a better plan in place. I think they should have apologized to her publicly and said, you know, we respect Gayle, and we made an error in judgment on what we showed from the interview.
They owe it to her, because the woman's getting death threats. This isn't something that's, you know, like, you know, someone releases an Instagram video and then we all move on to the next thing. I mean, the whole African American community is furious at her, it seems. At least, you know, for what we're seeing with it turned very racial. Snoop Dogg put out a video basically threatening her, calling her every name in the book.
Oh, horrible names. Horrible names. And she's just a woman doing her job. She's a journalist, okay? She has to mention the facts. You know, those are incontrovertible facts. That's all she was mentioning.
It was a part of his public persona. I don't want to say persona. What is it? It's part of his public what?
Profile.
Like, profile, yeah.
It's part of his story. It is a part of his story. And he admitted that he had done wrong. His admission was, I believe, more of I got signals wrong. I wasn't reading the verbal cues correctly, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, I don't fault him for that in a way. I mean, okay, the man defended himself and they talked about it, and that's it. That's all it should be. But now I have to get some Tales from the Crypt, Bill Cosby tweeting.
Ugh, that made me nauseous.
Who the hell wants to hear from him?
I mean, he's in jail because he's guilty, by the way. And how dare you discredit all of the women that have come out with their stories about him? You know, that what he's done to them. I mean, it's just such an insult.
It really is. When I saw him trending on Twitter, I was like, oh no, now what? It was worse than I thought, because he inserted his own story into this story about Kobe Bryant and Gayle King.
Oh, please. We did an episode on What a Creep about Bill Cosby, and he is a total fucking creep.
Well,
I just can't.
that's how I feel about Michael Jackson. I can't even listen to Michael Jackson music. I still can't, and I won't.
Right.
But it's unfortunate. But yeah, Gayle, hopefully everything will just blow over. But
Yeah.
So what about you? Yeah, are you going to be podcasting or watching the Oscars?
Probably doing a little bit of both. I've got a couple of recordings tomorrow, but I think I will flip back and forth. I mean, I have to see, it's the second year they're going to have a hostless format. And I remember, if memory serves, last year, it wasn't bad. It actually kind of zipped things along because the hosting thing just got ridiculous, I thought. Like, that just really was just bits on top of bits. Like, remember Ellen DeGeneres? Like, they order food or they bring people off the bus. And it was just like, this show does not need another half an hour of this crap, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care for any of the hosts, specifically Jimmy Kimmel. Like, I just don't care for any of them. So it's not missed on me by any means. But I think in a way, and I've said this to friends, by them not selecting a host for that show just shows that they what's a nice word that I can use, that they can't make a decision, that they're just, whatever decision they make is going to be wrong, and so they make no decision. But at some point you're going to to use the words of the Joes in New Jersey, you're going to man up and make a decision, I think, versus taking it these 2 years in a row with just worried about pissing somebody off. It's too safe. You're going to have some, you mean to tell me you can't find one person that can host that show it's appropriate?
You know what? Apparently it doesn't pay very much either. And it's a lot of stress. I think I've heard like Jimmy Kimmel being interviewed on Howard Stern. And he just like, for all the work that you put into it to try to make something out of it and try to bust out and do something different and do something fun. It's just it's not worth it. It's just and no matter what you do, everyone's going to say you weren't good. They're going to criticize you. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
I think only Billy Crystal kind of got away with it for a while. I don't remember him being highly criticized, but everyone else, David Letterman, they crapped all over. I mean, why would you do it?
Yeah, I don't know why if you're at the level where you're approachable to host that, why would you want to?
Yeah,
it's true. So tell me about, you mentioned earlier, What a Creep podcast. Tell me a little bit about that for those who want to know.
Yeah, so my friend Sonia and I, we get together once a week and we pick a creep and then we talk about the creep. Like, for example, this week we're talking about Vince McMahon. He's with the WWE and the XFL, which he relaunched today. Oh my God, was it boring. I was watching a few minutes of it this afternoon. But then we also pick somebody who's not a creep at the end to kind of like leave it with a sweet feeling at the end.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I saw you do it on Bryan Singer. That's very appropriate.
Yes. Oh my God, is he a creep? We did one with rock creeps from the 80s. So we have a lot of fun with it. And we've been just doing it for about 6 months now, but it's doing really well. And so we're having a lot of fun with it.
I think you're going to have a lot in this day and age. You're going to have a lot more content, a lot more people.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to run out of creeps.
No, you know what? The hard part is sometimes finding the not a creep, like somebody that's appropriate. Right. Yeah.
I bet. Like, how many times do you say Tom Hanks?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Tom Hanks or, Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
He did his stuff. Yeah, there's certain people that are really great and nice, like Jimmy Carter, but like there's not a lot of great did one about Newt Gingrich, and there's not a lot of great politicians to talk about. It can be tough.
Newt Gingrich. Which list was he on? Creep?
He was a total creep.
Okay,
yeah.
I was gonna say, please tell me he's on the creep list.
The man left 2 wives that had cancer, like they were dying to leave them for somebody else.
And he is the moral authority of the United States. Yep. Anyway, before I go off, I just want to let people know, because I enjoy Best Neighbors podcast, and I want you to briefly mention that and who you record with, because I like listening to it quite a bit.
Oh, thank you. So that's me. That's my Monday show. That's me and my neighbor, Erin. She lives right next door to me. We hang out every week and we just talk about reality shows. We talk about pop culture, what we're reading, what we're watching. We talk about stories in New York, and we just have a lot of fun.
What I like about that podcast,
a lot of real Housewives.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I like about that podcast is it moves. So there's no real blocks of one topic. Like you throw in your 2 cents each, keep it moving. What book are you reading? Great. Let's move on to the next thing. What's on tonight on TV? Like, it just moves. So I recommend it for people who just want to get a little sampling of everything. Best Neighbors. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we talk about Instagram recs and podcast recs. Like we say we're your pop culture concierge.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I encourage you all to check out their podcast, and thank you for listening to this one. There'll be more coming up, of course. Support the show if you like over on patreon.com/GrantsRants. And that'll be it. That'll do it for us. My thanks to Margo. Thank you.
Thank you. And just tell everybody if they want to follow me on social media, it's at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's for Instagram and Twitter, and that's my blog as well, and the shows are on there as well.
Brooklyn Fit Chick. There you go.
Yup.
All right, everyone. My thanks to Margo, and I love you for listening. Thank you.
This has been Grant's Rants Small Talk. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by RHONJ. Voiceover by Aw Yeah! Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.